Welcome to the Explainer. So have you ever stared down a massive mountain of obstacles and just thought, man, there is absolutely no way I can climb this? Well, today we are going to look at an incredibly emotional and cinematic story about defying those impossible odds. It's the true story of a boy who faced crushing failures, deep loneliness, and intense rejection, yet somehow managed to find a light in the darkest of places. This Explainer is all about the resilience of the human spirit, and I promise you, by the end of this, you're going to look at your own challenges in a completely different way. Okay, let's dive right into this. Listen to this incredible quote. People may laugh at you, but never laugh at yourself. Believe in your dream even when no one else does. Those words were spoken to our main guide today, a young boy named Zaw, by his dad. And honestly, this piece of advice is the emotional anchor for our entire story today. It really sets the stage for a journey where self-belief isn't just some nice fluffy thought, it is an absolute survival mechanism. Section 1. Dreaming in the Dirt. All right, let me paint a picture for you here. Zaw was just 12 years old, living in this tiny, incredibly remote village. His house was basically just wood and bamboo, and the roof leaked heavy drops every single time it rained. They literally had nothing. But Zaw had this vision, right? He wanted to become a teacher. He absolutely believed education was the one key to pulling his family out of grinding poverty. But actually getting that education, oh man, it was agonizing. Every single day he walked 5 kilometers to school, basically trudging through this deep, thick mud. No backpack either. He had to wrap his precious school books in a plastic bag just to keep the rain off them. At night, he's studying by a flickering candle because, well, they often had no electricity. And on top of all that, he had to deal with classmates constantly mocking his broken shoes and his big dreams. We actually see this kind of pain mirrored in other stories from our sources too, like young Noah, who was ridiculed just for saving up tiny basic coins to build a science project out of literal scrap. Just trying to learn was an immense daily struggle. He had a dream. I really want us to just pause and let that sink in for a second. Despite the broken shoes, the mud, the pure exhaustion, and having zero money, his inner fire burned so incredibly bright. It was all fueled by this vision of a better life, not just for himself, but for his little sister and his parents. So, what Zhao was actually demonstrating out there in the mud, and by that candlelight, is known clinically as grit. Psychological research defines this as the passion and sustained perseverance applied toward long-term goals. It's basically the ultimate defining factor that separates successful individuals from the folks who end up giving up when things get tough. And here is the really beautiful secret we get from the research. Grit isn't just something you're born with. No way. It's a superpower that absolutely anyone, including us, can develop and strengthen over time. Section 2. Facing the deepest dip. So Zaw applies all this grit, right? He studies harder than ever for this massive, totally life-changing scholarship exam. This was his golden ticket out, a chance to go to a town school with real computers, a library, expert teachers, the whole shebang. He stays up late, practices English out loud, and just pours his entire soul into this test. But when the results are finally posted on the school wall, his name was not on the list. He had failed. The scholarship was just gone. I mean, imagine that crushing, devastating heartbreak. He walked home so slowly, carrying this massive weight in his chest, literally hearing the echoes of the other students laughing at him. Everything he had worked for in that candlelight felt completely shattered in a single moment. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that this feeling of hitting rock bottom is actually a recognized psychological phase. It's called the dip. According to our educational sources, the dip is this universal, highly challenging phase of struggle and frustration that absolutely everyone faces when they're trying to learn something new or hit a big goal. Honestly, even geniuses hit the dip. It is a mandatory part of the journey to success. But let's be real, when you're actually in it, it feels like the end of the world. And Zhao felt that despair entirely. Lying there in bed, just staring up at the ceiling, he was completely overwhelmed by self-doubt. He actually thought to himself, maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe I was just dreaming too big. He was right there on the precipice. The temptation to just quit completely, to accept his lot in life and stop trying, it had never been stronger. Section 3. The choice to continue. The very next morning, Zaw wakes up feeling super ashamed, totally dreading the laughter he knows is waiting for him at school. But then, this massive emotional turning point happens. His little sister looks up at him, her eyes just full of absolute trust and love, and she asks him if he'll still help her with her homework today. And in that exact moment, he remembered his why. His dream wasn't just about himself or his own pride. It was about his family. It was about hope. He suddenly realized that failing isn't the end of the story. It just means you have to try again. That failure knocked him down hard, but his why pulled him right back onto his feet. Our sources outline the actionable mechanisms of perseverance perfectly right here, and the path is incredibly clear. Try again, continue, resist the temptation to quit, and finish what you start. This is exactly how you climb a mountain, one agonizing, deliberate step at a time. And Zhao chose to follow these exact steps. He lit that candle again, he opened the book again, and he actively chose to build his strength. Section 4. The Power of Yet. So Zhao shifts into a completely new gear. He starts waking up before the sun even rises to help his dad in the fields, and then he studies furiously. He basically decides he is going to outwork everyone else's doubts. And you know what? This incredible effort catches the eye of a new teacher, Miss Theory. She steps in as his mentor and completely transforms how he looks at his own potential. When an opportunity for a regional English speech competition pops up, Zhao is terrified. I mean, he has no fancy clothes, no polished accent, and he feels wildly out of his depth. But Miss Theory gives him this brilliant piece of advice. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be brave. So he took that bravery, stepped out onto a massive stage in a big town, and delivered a speech about his life that actually won the Most Inspiring Speech Award. And this brilliantly illustrates the core difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A fixed mindset tells you, I failed, so I am not smart enough. That was Zha back when he was stuck in the dip. But Miss Theory helped him transition to a growth mindset. I haven't succeeded yet, but I can learn. Embracing that power of yet changed absolutely everything for him. It completely reframed his failure from a permanent label into just a temporary roadblock. Just look at how this compounds over time. At 12, he's this mocked village boy studying by candlelight. At 13, he hits his absolute lowest point but refuses to quit. By 14, his bravery earns him that inspiring speech award, and then, at age 16, he faces the ultimate test all over again, the national exam. But this time, he's armed with a growth mindset, intense grit, and the totally unwavering support of his mentor and his family. Section 5. The True Meaning of Success. Weeks after taking that massive national exam, the results finally arrive. The moment of truth. Zha is literally trembling in front of the school notice board, terrified of experiencing that crushing heartbreak a second time. Miss Theory gently touches his shoulder, and the number next to his name says 5%. Zha scored in the top 5% of the entire nation. He won a full scholarship to the city's absolute best school. Everything was paid for. All those nights of flickering candlelight, the muddy walks, the tears, it had all culminated in this magnificent, life-altering triumph. He actually did it. But honestly, what Zha did next is what truly makes this story special. When the school holidays came around, he didn't just stay back in the shiny new city. No, he returned to his home village. He taught English to the local kids. He organized study groups under that exact same candlelight he used to use, showing them how to chase their own dreams. He essentially became the mentor to them that Miss Theory had been to him. Years later, as an incredibly respected teacher himself, Zha was asked if he felt successful because of how far he'd come, and he shared this really profound realization. Success is not something you take, it's something you give. See, true success wasn't about the fancy city school or making money. It was the journey of becoming a better, stronger person, and then using that newfound strength to reach back down and lift others up. Section 6. Finding your inner grit. Zha's story is just such a powerful testament to what the human spirit can endure. And, he's definitely not alone here. Our sources tell us about people like Emmanuel Taban, who at just 16 walked out of war-torn Sudan with nothing, survived torture and extreme poverty, and persevered to become a groundbreaking top pulmonologist in South Africa. The truth is, perseverance is a superpower. It really doesn't matter what difficult season of life you're in right now. You might be deep in the dip. You might feel like you're wrapping your life in a plastic bag and trudging through endless mud. But listen to me. You possess the inner grit to survive it. You have the absolute ability to try again, to harness the power of yet, and to just keep moving forward. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Think about the obstacles you are facing right now, today. How can you push through your current struggles, not just to achieve your own goals, but so that one day you can turn around and light the way for someone else? What is true success for you? Thank you so much for exploring this explainer with me. Keep building that grit and never ever give up.